Hi, I'm Antonio, and I'd like to present a top-level analysis of the beer industry, then a quick briefing of the styles of beer, shifting our focus specifically to IPA and ale, and finish with the progress made so far for our decision matrix. Based on the data, we counted 558 breweries in the U.S. The three states with the most are Colorado with 47 breweries, California with 39 breweries, and Michigan with 32. Budweiser currently has 12 active breweries, of which 4 of those breweries are in one of the top 10 states based on brewery count. 2 in California, 1 in Colorado, and 1 in Texas. If one wants to be highly ambitious and visit all 558 breweries for a tasting, it would be very common to come across more bitter beer in the state of Maine, given it has the highest median international bitterness of a beer, but tastes beer with more alcohol by volume in the state of Kentucky and/or the District of Columbia, given they are tied for highest median ABV. You will also notice a strong relationship between how bitter your beer tastes and the amount of alcohol in it. As you can see from this visualization, there also gives credence to a strong positive correlation between bitterness of beer and alcohol, but it doesn't appear so far to be a perfectly linear relationship. If one wanted to taste the most bitter beer brewed in the US, just visit Astoria, Oregon and ask for a Bitter Bitch Imperial IPA. But if one wanted to drink a pint of beer with the most amount of alcohol, go to Boulder, Colorado and ask for Lee Hill Series Volume 5. Please make sure to plan for transportation assistance ahead of time. I would like to note that even though the most alcoholic beer has an ABV of 12.8%, the majority of states put between 5% and 6.7% of ABV in their beer. There are just some higher ABVs skewing the data. In contrast, one can expect to taste a wider range of bitterness as you make your way from state to state. When analyzing the different styles of beer, the top 3 states for a number of breweries appear to favor ale and IPA, and based on this visualization, if we had to guess, we would assume that that also holds true for the majority of states, but further analysis is needed for any definitive proof. I would now like to focus on ale and IPA, given that they are the most favored beer to brew. In the US, there are 963 ale beers available and 571 IPAs to choose from. IPAs and ale both have a similar characteristic in that one would expect to taste more bitterness in either an IPA or an ale the more alcohol is in a beer, or vice versa, since we're claiming correlation and not causation. IPAs tend to be more on the bitter side and have higher alcohol by content and volume when compared to ale. Using the unstandardized internal K&N classification method, comparing the 5 closest observations, we're able to identify IPA or ale given its bitterness and alcohol content in an accuracy range of 84 to 89%. I used this closest 5 observations and not 20 closest observations because that number provided the highest average accuracy when compared to a range of 1 observation to 30. Last but not least, we attempted to find an ideal targeted location to focus expansion resources, assuming it is a place with a high beer consumption. Dividing the U.S. into 6 regions, Pacific, West, Midwest, Northeast, Southwest, and Southeast, we find that the Midwest had the strongest positive correlation to beer consumption. Even though the West region has a higher beer consumption rate and more number of breweries, we see that the Midwest do have the highest population rate for medium state. If we wanted to expand current production, the West would be an ideal location region to focus those resources, considering we do already have 3 breweries in that location, 1 in Colorado and then 2 in California. However, if we wanted to expand and outside of our current production, the Midwest, where we are currently home, have our headquarters at, would be the more ideal location. We can either buy an underperforming brewery in that targeted locations, considering they have quite a few number of breweries, or we can focus on building, assuming that real estate prices are cheaper in the Midwest. And this is also assuming historical population trends can be projected into the future, but this will require further analysis for statistical proof. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to presenting an even more in-depth analysis to help focus your expansion resources in the most optimal location.